December 19th, 1944. Winston Churchill stood in the war room beneath Whitehall, staring at the map of the Ardennes forest. The red line marking German positions had just punched 40 miles into Allied territory. American forces were surrounded. British intelligence estimated it would take 3 weeks to organize a counterattack. General George S. Patton said he could do it in 48 hours. Churchill didn't believe him. Neither did Eisenhower, neither did anyone in that room. This is the story of what happened next, and what Churchill said when Patton proved every military expert in the world wrong. December 16th, 1944. Hitler launched Operation Watch on the Rhine. 200,000 German troops smashed through the weakest point in the Allied line, the Ardennes forest, a place Americans thought was too thick for tanks, too rugged for a major offensive. They were wrong. Within 48 hours, German panzers had surrounded the town of Bastogne. The 101st Airborne Division was trapped. 10,000 American soldiers, cut off from supplies, outnumbered 4-1. Winter was setting in. Snow was falling. Temperatures dropped below freezing. General Omar Bradley called it a catastrophe. Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery said relief would take weeks. Even if they could break through, the logistics were impossible, moving an entire army 90 miles north, through ice and snow, across frozen roads, while fighting enemy positions every mile of the way. It had never been done before. December 19th, 1944. Eisenhower called an emergency meeting in Verdun, France. Every senior Allied commander attended. The mood was grim. Some generals suggested abandoning Bastogne. Others recommended defensive positions. Wait for spring. Regroup. Then Patton walked in. Eisenhower asked the question everyone was thinking. How long would it take to relieve Bastogne? Patton said, 2 days. The room went silent. To Omar Bradley later wrote in his memoirs, I thought he was joking. Montgomery scoffed, called it American bravado. Eisenhower said, George, don't be fanatical. But Patton wasn't joking. He had already done something no one in that room knew about. He had prepared 3 complete attack plans before he even received orders. His staff had been working for 72 hours straight, mapping routes, calculating fuel, positioning divisions. When Eisenhower asked which plan he would use, Patton said, all 3. He would attack with 3 entire divisions, simultaneously from 3 different directions, and he would do it in 48 hours. Here's what military experts said was impossible. First, distance. Patton's Third Army was 90 miles south of Bastogne. Moving 90 miles in good weather takes days. In a blizzard, with enemy resistance, it should take weeks. Second, direction. Patton's army was facing east, attacking toward Germany. To reach Bastogne, he would have to turn 90 degrees north. Turn, not just redirect a few units, turn 6 entire divisions, over 200,000 men, 5,000 vehicles, 18,000 tons of supplies. Armies don't turn, they advance, they retreat, they don't pivot like a drill team. Third, coordination. 3 divisions attacking simultaneously requires perfect timing. Radio communications were unreliable in the storm. Maps were outdated. Roads were iced over. One mistake and divisions would collide. Or worse, attack each other in the snow. Fourth, fuel. Patton's tanks needed 50,000 gallons of gasoline per day. Supply lines were stretched thin. Winter had frozen fuel pumps. Trucks were sliding off roads. Getting fuel 90 miles north in a blizzard? Impossible. Fifth, enemy resistance. German positions blocked every route north. Patton would have to fight through fortified towns, cross rivers under fire, break through defensive lines, all while racing against time. Montgomery told Churchill, "Patton's plan is suicide." December 19th, night. Patton returned to his headquarters in Luxembourg. He walked into the operations room. His staff was waiting. Maps covered every table. Officers stood at attention. Patton said one word: "Go." The greatest logistical operation in military history began. At 2200 hours, 10 p.m., the 4th Armored Division began moving north, in the dark, in a snowstorm. Tanks formed columns, bumper to bumper, headlights off, moving by compass. At 2300 hours, the 26th Infantry Division started their turn. 15,000 men marching through ice. Supply trucks followed. Drivers chained their tires, pushed forward. At midnight, the 80th Infantry Division joined. 3 separate columns, converging on Bastogne from 3 directions. Patton stayed in the operations room, phone in hand, coordinating every movement. He didn't sleep, didn't eat, just watched the map. Watched his army turn 90 degrees. December 20th, morning. German intelligence detected movement, but they didn't believe their reports. A German colonel later testified during post-war interrogations, "We thought it was a mistake, a map error. An entire American army doesn't change direction overnight." But it was happening. Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt received the reports at German High Command. He called it impossible, told his officers to verify. They verified. It was true. Patton's Third Army was moving north, fast. Von Rundstedt immediately sent orders: reinforce southern positions, block the American advance. But his reserves were committed, fighting in Bastogne, fighting in the north. He had nothing left. Rommel once wrote in his diary, "Patton is the only Allied general who moves faster than his enemy can react." Now the Germans were experiencing it firsthand. December 22nd, morning. Patton's 4th Armored Division reached the outer German defensive line, 10 miles from Bastogne. Enemy positions blocked the road. Dug-in infantry, anti-tank guns, artillery. A traditional commander would have stopped, called for air support, waited for reinforcements, planned a careful assault. Patton attacked immediately. Tanks charged straight into enemy positions. No pause, no preparation, just speed, surprise, violence. The German line broke. By afternoon, Patton's forces were 5 miles from Bastogne. The 101st Airborne could see them coming, hear the tank engines, but German counterattacks slowed the advance. Night fell. Patton's tanks stopped, 3 miles from the surrounded Americans. In Bastogne, General Anthony McAuliffe wondered if relief would come in time. The Germans had offered surrender terms. McAuliffe's famous reply, "Nuts." Now he was waiting, hoping, praying. December 26th, afternoon. First Lieutenant Charles Boggess, 4th Armored Division, led a tank column down a narrow road toward Bastogne. German fire hit from both sides. Boggess kept moving. His Sherman tank pushed through the last defensive line. At 1650 hours, 4:50 p.m., Boggess radioed back. Contact made with 101st Airborne. Bastogne was relieved. The impossible had happened. Patton had turned his entire army 90 degrees, moved 90 miles through a blizzard, fought through enemy defenses, and reached Bastogne. Not in 3 weeks, not in 2 weeks, in exactly 48 hours. From the moment Eisenhower gave the order to the moment relief arrived. 48 hours, just like Patton said. December 27th, morning. Winston Churchill received the report in London. He read it twice, called his military secretary, asked if it was verified. It was. Churchill later wrote in his memoirs, "I did not think it could be done. I said so. I was wrong." But what Churchill said in the war room that morning, that's what changed everything. According to Field Marshal Alan Brooke's diary, Churchill walked to the map, stared at the red line marking Patton's advance, and said this: "Gentlemen, we have just witnessed something that will be studied for the next 100 years. What Patton accomplished was not tactics, it was not strategy, it was something else entirely. It was the future of warfare. Speed, aggression, audacity. He didn't follow the rules of war, he broke them. And he won." Churchill paused, then continued. "I have spent my entire life studying military history. Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Wellington, Nelson. I thought I understood what made a great commander. But this is different. Patton doesn't fight battles the way we taught him. He fights battles the way they will be fought 50 years from now." Montgomery was present during this conversation. He said nothing. His own plan to relieve Bastogne was still being organized. It wouldn't be ready for another week. What Patton did at Bastogne changed World War II, changed military doctrine, changed how armies operate. Before Bastogne, armies moved slowly, methodically, follow the plan, wait for supplies, fight carefully. After Bastogne, speed became the new doctrine. Don't wait, don't prepare, move, attack, win. The Germans never recovered from the Battle of the Bulge. Their reserves were destroyed. Their offensive power was broken. By May, Berlin fell. The war in Europe ended. But more than that, Patton proved something Churchill finally understood. The British way of war: careful planning, overwhelming force, methodical advance. That belonged to the past. The American way: speed, aggression, risk-taking. That was the future. Churchill admitted it, privately, reluctantly. But he admitted it. Today, military academies around the world study Patton's relief of Bastogne. Not just the tactics, the mindset. When everyone says, "Impossible," find a way. When everyone says, "Wait," attack now. When everyone says it takes weeks, do it in days. That's what made Patton legendary, not just his victories, his refusal to accept limitations. Churchill recognized it, even if it challenged everything he believed about warfare. And on December 27, 1944, in that war room beneath Whitehall, Churchill gave Patton the ultimate compliment. He called him the future. If you found this story fascinating, subscribe for more untold moments from World War II. Next video: what Rommel wrote in his diary after Patton outsmarted his entire North African strategy in a single day. Thanks for watching.